Love. So this is the second part of the blog, 28th of 10, about the massacre in the synagogue. And it says here, this Israeli journalist goes against Benjamin Netanyahu and the minister who said he's going to Pittsburgh because he is the minister of diaspora to represent the government, but it's a government that delegitimizes the reform and conservative movements that most of the Jews in the U.S. belong to those groups. Only when a terror attack occurs, the government in Jerusalem all of a sudden embraces them because suddenly we're all Jews. That is true. I really think there is a problem with the various movements in Judaism that they're having a very difficult time getting recognition, and then all of a sudden they're part of the nation. But again, it says here, the synagogue members of the Tree of Life were not attacked because they supported Israel. They were not attacked because they were Jews. The attacker clarified that he identifies the Jews with Hayas, an organization that used to help Jewish migrants from East Europe and afterwards Holocaust survivor. In the U.S., Hayas is identified today with the call to let in refugees from Syria. And according to the opinion of the shooter, they will destroy the white people in the U.S. Oh my God. In the U.S., Hayas also was confronting the policy of the government against those who Africans that are coming, migrant workers. So you could say that not only are the Jews of Pittsburgh and the U.S. embraced by a president that his values and his way of behaving are despicable in their eyes, but they also are comforted by an Israeli government who has been alienated towards them and their values. And wow, this is a strong statement. They're closer to that of the murderer than to the Jews he murdered. So I think it's a little bit strong comment. I mean, come on. But I am as well concerned with extremism in the government. So let's talk about something else, because I don't know what I can do about that except vote, which I will definitely will vote for the parties that will express more liberal and tolerant views, that's for sure. I think this whole idea that white man is under threat is completely ludicrous, and it's completely Hitler. And yes, there were Jews who voted for Hitler, but it's becoming... I was just horrified. I remember when I saw so many American Jews supporting Donald Trump as if he was the Messiah, when his values are so opposed to that of most Jews. Because most Jews, I think, are liberal thinkers. Throughout history, Jews always stood for the human rights of minorities, and were liberal in their views, so most, I'm saying, because there's a spectrum of opinions. So I hope this will not be a political debate, but we have to remember that Donald Trump is just, the way he behaved was just completely inappropriate and has to be addressed. I don't understand why Megyn Kelly has to leave her position in the media because she talked about blackface in Halloween. That's racist. But to say that, if the Jews had a better guard, this never would have happened, that's not racist. Well, and he doesn't have to leave his office. It's really sad because it's so clear that Donald Trump has encouraged racism and division and white supremacist, whatever that means. I mean, is it not clear that the white race, or whatever it is, first of all, I don't think there is a race. Is there ever such a thing as a race? Dogs maybe, but human beings? Really, the color of my skin determines whether I'm a member of a certain race or not? I don't know. just ludicrous to me that there's a division at all. I want to talk about birds. Two things about birds. The Israeli Society for Protection of Nature is addressing an issue tomorrow, Monday. There will be a discussion whether to approve giant turbines in the center of the Golan. Energy renewal is wonderful, but it has to be it has to respect ecology. Again, we have a problem, just like in the U.S., with ecology and nature. And I think birds don't have anyone speaking up for them. So without birds, what are we after all? So this is a call to ensure there won't be any birds damaged. The eagle population in the Golan Heights is a very important one, and let's hope it won't be. And it's diminished through the years, so let's hope the sight of a beautiful eagle flying in the sky will not be a rare one, if not, while those energy turbines will dominate the view. So let's hope. If you want to support them, there is here a website. It's http://bit.ly/save, and then there's an underline vultures. They're actually vultures. They're very important for the ecological balance. There's one thing I would work for, and it's important for me, it's birds. They're so important for human beings in every level, whether it's poetical or whether it's ecological. And now we see that there's research done by the scientific reports that the brains of these birds, these ravens that are so common here, we can always see ravens, are better than children. 5 to 9 year old children learn how to make tools only at that age, but birds can actually do that much quicker. Their tiny brain helps them do tasks that even children can't do. They can use tools, they can identify human faces and remember them in a way that's much better than human beings can identify different birds. They researched these ravens, New Caledonia ravens, can even discover how to make tools from different parts. They can think ahead of using a tool before it's even there, and even better than monkeys in nature. So they gave long sticks. All 8 birds quickly lifted the sticks and tried to get the food out of the box using that. The second part, they were offered too short, but they were able to put them together. And 4 of the 8 ravens were able to put together sticks and to create a long one to reach the food. The third one, they got even shorter one. One bird was able to create a long stick made out of 3 or even 4 parts to get to the food. The brain activity has been the subject of many researchers. They can even bend a stick in order to get food. It shows that ravens have a very flexible ability to solve problems, but it doesn't show how they do it. It's like similar processes are used in developing artificial intelligence and robots in order to understand better the animals, and also to discover ways to build machines that can get into creative problem solving for problems. So I wish the goal would have been just to discover the mechanism and to appreciate how amazing birds are. Right? Yep. Peace, light, and love for everybody. And So, yeah, I think that's enough for today. I just wanted to tell you, though, remind you that in Israel we had 39 rockets thrown into the areas next to Gaza. Even tonight, 14 different alarm system went off, and people had to go to shelters. Okay, let's hope something goes. Yeah, they thought there was going to be a calming down, but instead of it's getting increased, the increase of rockets thrown towards Israel. And I think the rockets thrown towards Israel is the same as the synagogue. I think it is because they're Jews. And it's intolerance. It's because of intolerance of other people to live. Yeah, just really sad. But as I said before, I just feel sad for people who choose violent solutions. I really do. And I really hope we can find a peaceful solution. Here's Prime Minister Netanyahu in Uman. It's the first time since 1996. I just hope the left-wing paper will calm down its attack on the personal attack on the government and try to instead build up the left again, and we can have an alternative to the right wing, or at least work together. There's going to be elections, municipality elections, and I'm definitely going to vote politically. I was told by a lot of people that are like around my age that they will vote for the current mayor because the younger ones, they don't have enough experience. And I think he's also politically all right. He's a very fair person politically, very balanced. And I also want to see the Green Party gain votes. And that's mine. Right, Shelby? Shelby. We want the Green Party to sit in the office. And the more secular Green parties take over, the better it is. Because the right is just going to bring disaster for everyone. That's my opinion now. Stronger and stronger. It's always been my opinion, but it's getting more and more verification. I'm just never, ever going to support anyone on the right, and it's just doesn't bring anything, because what they do is they just separate people and divide them. And I was just listening to, I wanted to say something about YouTube. The minute it happened, there was already a YouTube by a young guy from California, I believe, Bel Air. That's like a ritzy part of California, saying, oh, it was fake, it was phony, the left did it, or conspiracy theories. Come on, give me a break. And then the Young Turks, they were the spokesperson for the Young Turks was very angry and furious, and he said, look, the majority of terror attacks in the U.S. were by right extremists, so come on, stop blaming the left. Come on, really, it's absurd. It's either Muslim extremists or right-wing extremists. And the way Donald Trump always accuses the foreigners, as if the U.S. is not a country made out of immigrants, is absolutely despicable. So I just hope. This is the face of this person. Jews are the children of Satan. The Lord Jesus Christ has come to the flesh. Oh my God, as if Jesus was not Jewish. I do think there are parts of the Bible that are very violent and call for murder, but I think there's so many beautiful parts of the New Testament that call for peace and love, and they say, blessed are the peacemakers. Because only they can be called the children of God. And for some reason, he just decided, I don't want to look at him, and I don't want to look at him. For some reason, they decided to select the Bible for It says here, Hayas likes to bring invaders that kill our people. I can't sit by and watch my people get slaughtered. Screw your optics, I'm going in. It's really, really, really scary. I think America's become a scary place, and it's really sad. Yeah. I really want to see reactions from the left. So the Democrats have to stand together and do something. And then we have here the rockets. Saturday, the No Peace for the Jews. In the south, there were rockets and alarms. And fortunately for us, we did have Iron Dome. It's just yesterday the people in the south demonstrated. I mean, we're sitting here quiet. Meanwhile, these people are in bomb shelters and rockets are being thrown at them just because what? They don't want to see Jews in the Middle East. If only they were able to embrace it, but it's just threatening for them. Fortunately, some people realize that there's a great potential in Jews being in the Middle East. They can help the Middle East develop rather than to be a place of primitive madness. Good news here also, 3 medals for the Israeli team in Abu Dhabi. It's the first time the Israelis could actually wear their uniform, their national uniforms, because most of the time when they were competing in Muslim countries, they were not allowed to wear the flag. It says here, the organizers hid all the flags. Okay, at least they could wear it on their uniforms. And there were 3 bronze medals for the Israeli team. Yeah, very good. And also in Qatar, the gymnastics team in Qatar still in the picture. The Israeli is the vice champion of the world in European in ground gymnastic. Yeah. So anyway, that's good. I'm not really interested in sport. I don't like competitive sports, but I think it's healthy. Some things are healthy. Yesterday I was going to go to this demonstration, but I was sick. More than 1,000 people came to demonstrate against the law for loyalty to the country. Many actors and actresses came to demonstrate against censorship. I really do agree with their message. I was just really feeling sick. I'm really sad there's only 1,000 demonstrators. And just to compare, when the LGBT community came together because they want Israel to pay for their fertility, like for them to have like babies with using other women to have babies with, it was maybe 100,000. So sad. And I said it then. I said, why don't you fight that this country will be a good country before you want to bring kids to the world? Or at the same time, you want to be parents. What about fighting so this country will reflect the values that you want to see? Assuming they're liberal people, since they think that they should be allowed to be gay and parent children, but they think Israel has to pay it's like 100,000 shekels or something for them to have a baby, just because they could do it in a much less expensive way had they been willing to have some sort of a deal with women who don't have partners. But instead of that, they prefer to have an anonymous mother, and I think that's really tragic for children. And it's tragic that 1,000 people only came. I'm really for them. I'm against censorship. I think some of Israel's best songs and theater pieces and art has been created by people that are reacting to what's going on. And if we can't react to what's going on in the violent Middle East, then God help us. And I don't mean just God, I'm just saying, really, we're helpless without art being able to express itself, to express what we're feeling, I mean. So, anyway, that's the news. And I wanted to add, this is fashion. I don't know. This is I really don't like fashion. I don't like fashion because it's something that passes and it's not really interesting for me. Let's see what's interesting. There are really a lot of things going on always in Israel. On Tuesday at 8:30 at the Jewish Arab Theater in Jaffa, there will be a new literary magazine from the Middle East. That's interesting. And there's going to be a talk this Thursday about Ingmar Bergman. I'm really interested in that. I really love his films. They go very deep. So a lot of things going on in the Middle East here. And Swedish Michael Jansson, photographer, has recorded 97 Holocaust survivors, documented, a new exhibit. He said there couldn't be a better timing as the extreme right gets strength in his country. Where is this exhibit? I don't know. In Stockholm last week. It's an exhibit by the fashion photographer Michael Jansson opened, and that's really interesting. Images of the Holocaust survivors. For me, and then you see, Anna Gruner. She was born in Denmark, got to Sweden in 1943. Max Speer came to Sweden also. These are Jews that came to Sweden during the war. He came to Sweden, Max Speer. Then you have, this man is Josef Reich, came from Poland in 1969. Lea Gleitman came to Sweden 1946. Dora came from Romania 1945. And Tauber came to Sweden 1945. He says he wanted to show them as they are. He said in the photographers what the Nazis wanted to destroy, the human expression of any human being with their unique emotions, thoughts, and their inner world of every person. He says, I like black and white because it makes it look, details stand out more. I think that's true. One person showed the number that he had from the Nazis. I think Holocaust survivors today in Sweden came as refugees during World War II. Sweden was neutral during the war, but she had an ambivalent role. On the one hand, she sold Germany iron, which was necessary. I thought it was only Switzerland. They do have a lot in common. On one hand, they sold Germany iron that's necessary for the military factory of the Nazis, and had connections with the Nazi regime, and they made it possible for German forces to go from Norway to Finland to occupied Norway and Finland. On the other hand, they helped the Danish and Norwegian underground and saved thousands of Jews by a very generous policy of refugees, taking refugees, and diplomatic efforts. Very famous is Polka Bernadotte and Raoul Wallenberg. The humanitarian Swedish activities helped find almost all the Jews of Denmark and half the Jews of Norway, and many other refugees were able to come after the war. They were come from their camps after the war. Many stayed and became part of the Jewish community. He sees the connection between the historical events that brought the people he photographed in the current political climate in Sweden. He talks about the extreme right wing getting stronger, about refugees. I have to say, I really don't think all the refugees are the same. I mean, the Jews never did anything violent. They came from a very, how can I say it in a nice way, the culture in which they were raised did not call for violence. Whereas I think that people that come from Syria, you don't know, it's a mix. It could be ISIS as well there. They come from a culture of extremities where women's rights and other human rights are not respected, and that has to be taken into account when people don't want those people with extreme views in their countries. It's not the same as the Jews who were coming from Western countries. They grew up in Western cultures, and they were always tended to be liberal and not extreme. Whereas the Muslim refugees that come to Sweden, and they're just not the same. You can't compare. Although I always say extreme right is extreme right is extreme right. But one should think before taking in refugees from countries that have a culture that is very, very racist and does not allow for other cultures to live with it. Peace, light, and love from everyone. Bye.